Hi, this is a follow-up video to a product review I did about 9 months ago. It was for this keyboard here. That's the Velocifire TKL02WS. So that's a 10 keyless keyboard, wireless, and it's a mechanical keyboard. And so when I first got it, I played with it a little bit, and then I made a quick review because I had not found much in the way of information about this keyboard at the time. So I figured I would put out my own information there. I had limited experience with that keyboard, and so I decided to do a follow-up video. So it's been about 9 months that I've had it. And since then, so I've learned a few things about it, but pretty much everything that I have said in the original review still holds true. So first of all, let's just go over the keyboard itself. So it's held up really well. So there's the I'll hide this section there. So there's the back of the keyboard. So the feet have been very solid. So I don't really use the feet, so they have not had any reason to have any issue. The little rubber pads there, so they got a bit dirty. I can clean that up, but they're still very sticky, and so they hold the keyboard in place. So that's really good. There's been absolutely no issue with the charging port. And so the keyboard itself doesn't have a scratch on it. I'm being careful, of course, I'm not throwing it around. But there's not a scratch on it, and it works perfectly well. So this is a very solid and reliable piece of hardware. In terms of functionality, so the sound. So I spent a lot of time in the previous video to do the sound test, and I spent the time to put on rubber dampeners on the keys. So these got very quiet. Some of the keys are not as quiet as others, but so overall the sound is not a problem. So I've been working in the I'm a consultant. I go to different client sites, and so I have not bothered anyone with the sound of my keyboard. So the sound is under control, and it's a mechanical keyboard, so it has good feedback. You feel it. It goes really well. It sounds really well. So the lighting. So I have not used it a whole lot. I have used the lighting more recently because I was working longer hours and I was working at night, so I had the backlight on, and so it works well. So at night it's much easier, of course, to see what you're doing. Otherwise I keep it turned off. And the most remarkable thing about this keyboard, that's the part that absolutely blows my mind, is that in the last 9 months since I've had it, I've charged it 3 times. The battery life on this thing is absolutely amazing. So I've charged it, so the original charge plus 3 more times. So I'm about halfway through in that third charge. That fourth charge actually. So the original one plus 3 more times. So battery life is absolutely amazing on this keyboard. So they do a good job. So that was a concern for me. It looked like, so when you have the caps lock on, there's this little light there, and so I talked about that when I first did the review, that I waited a long time, something like 10 minutes, for the light to go off. So I thought that the whole keyboard would go to sleep. It looks like it doesn't quite work like that. The power management must be much more intelligent than that. The lights, the backlight goes out after a few seconds, maybe a minute. Yeah, I think it's a minute and a few seconds. So it doesn't stay on if you're not using it. But as soon as you need it, you hit any key or you start typing and it comes right back on. So the lighting is very much under control. I've been using, when I use the backlight, the battery life, of course, is reduced. So instead of maybe 3 months the first 2 times, when I started to use the backlighting a little bit, the battery life would be more like 2 months. And this is daily use all day long. I don't usually use it at night or weekends, although more recently it has happened that I was working in the evening, and that's the reason I was using the backlight. So I haven't touched the keyboard in a little bit. I don't know exactly the time, but it's about to go out probably. There was one question in the comments of that original review video, and it was, what is the purpose of this little lock symbol there on the Windows key? And so basically, so I use this keyboard on a Mac, but I also actually, this computer here that's in front of me, my home workstation, is a Windows computer, so I have it connected to the Windows computer right now. And so what this does is it simply disables that key. So so the keyboard's not, there we go, the light is going out. So it was maybe a minute and a few seconds. I can look at the footage and see exactly how long it was. But so let's bring the lights back on, and now I'm going to turn them off. So no more backlighting. So if I use the function key and I activate this, so this little light came on. Now the Windows key doesn't work anymore. So this key doesn't work anymore. And it's not specific to the Windows operating system. It's that key is no longer enabled. So on a Mac, this key is mapped to the command key. So that used to be the old Apple key. So that's the command key. But I cannot remember if it does that by itself, or if it is because I did a mapping at some point. I can't remember if I've done that. But so this key for me, when I'm using it on my laptop, which is a Mac, is the command key. But by doing this, it simply disables that key. So that key doesn't do anything right now. So I'm on a Windows computer, and you know how it is when so I'll reactivate it. And so when you hit, you can't see that, but it's on my screen right there. But when you hit the Windows key, the little menu comes up, and so it could be useful for some functions. But if you're typing a lot and you hit it by accident, and you start doing things to your computers that you did not intend to do, so you can disable this, and there we go. The key doesn't do anything anymore. So so that's that. So there is one thing that I think is worth mentioning. Once in a while, a few keystrokes do not register. So I would be typing some documentation. So I would be typing long text, and then as I'm typing, a few keystrokes don't register, and then it keeps typing. So I have to go back and type again. I wasn't sure if it's so I have this. I'm using this on a Mac. And so I have this little adapter there, and so this is made of aluminum, and so I'll disconnect it from the computer and put it here. So that's how it is on my laptop. So I wasn't sure if there was interference. This is for the mouse, which is also wireless. So I wasn't sure if there was interference, or if it's because this I don't know, the signal is shielded by the aluminum casing of this adapter. I have not typed enough, so I cannot connect this alone on the Mac. The Mac uses the USB-C ports, so I cannot connect this alone on the Mac. And when it's on the Windows computer, where I have USB connectors like this, I have not typed enough to notice. So I think this is worth mentioning, because I have seen this comment in some other reviews now, that sometimes the keys don't register, so that may be an issue. It's not enough to be a problem, but it's a bit annoying. If I'm typing and I don't notice, then I will catch it later when I proofread and, hey, well, why are there keys missing there? Why are there letters missing there? Or what was I trying to say? Oh yeah, that's a missing word, or a missing partially missing word. So that's the one thing that I've noticed. So one thing I almost forgot to mention, it's about the charging. So when you charge the keyboard, so put the USB cable in here. So you get this red light there. So that's very nice. It tells you it's charging. So this is connected right now to the wall and to an adapter, but you can actually connect this to the computer, and the signal, instead of going through wireless, the signal will go through the wire. So you can continue typing and it's charging at the same time. So that's really, really well done. One issue is that it doesn't, so when it's done charging, it simply turns off. You don't get a green light. It's not a big issue, and then you can, so what I do the few times that I recharged it is I would let it charge fully. It would go, the light would go off, then I would disconnect it, wait a little bit, and reconnect it again, so in the hope of like packing as much electricity in the battery as possible. So when it is about to go out, you don't get any warning, and that's what I think is an issue. There should be some sort of warning. It looks like there's only red and white. There's no other color on this this LED there. So maybe in the future, a Velocifire, they will come up with a different type of light there that will blink yellow or something. Through a firmware upgrade, I'm sure they could make it blink red or alternate red and white, or do something to warn the user that the battery is about to go out. So I wanted to mention that because that's one thing I think could be improved on this keyboard. So overall, this is a really, really good purchase. I'm very glad I got this. It was not very expensive. The weight I thought might be an issue. It's pretty hefty. And I carry this in my backpack, although in the past few months I've been working at home like everybody else, so it has not gone anywhere. But when I was working, going to my clients, it would be in a backpack, and along with the laptop and some paperwork, and so it did not bother me. So maybe it would bother someone else, but so for me that's not an issue. The weight is not an issue. One positive is that when you put it there, it doesn't move anywhere. It doesn't move on its own. It's not going to just slide around your desk. So there. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say about the keyboard. So I did the original review in much more detail, and so I wanted to do a follow-up a few months later after I've been using it for a little while. Of course, there's some dust inside. It's kind of hard to see on the screen there, but there's a bit of dust inside, and that would not be a big deal to use the key puller and pull the keys and clean it up, or just use a can of air and blow out the dust. Yeah, so that's it. So hopefully this follow-up review is helpful for someone. As far as I'm concerned, this keyboard is getting a thumbs up. So take care, and talk next time.